going on, guys? Crypto Renegade here. In today's video, I'm going to do a final part 3 to my what's going on with crypto right now. And I'm recording this literally just after the Q&A of the Fed announcement. Stay tuned. You do not want to miss this one. All right, welcome back. So again, I want to do a quick recap of saving you an hour and a half's worth of time of what happened with the Fed announcement and why this is affecting the crypto market. The long and short of it is they're not doing anything today. They indicated that they may hike the interest rates by 0.25% or 0.5% by March. So again, nothing happened today. People are anticipating what's going to happen in March. They admitted inflation was high. They admitted that labor participation is low. The bottom line here is, how do we look at this in terms of crypto and what we're doing now? I'm also going to show you some of the misses that I made. I know a lot of people don't actually, at least on crypto YouTube or crypto Twitter, they don't show you some of their targets that were missed. I'm going to show you some wins that I got, some fills on my previous video, and some losses. And just to show you as an example that predicting crypto or predicting markets in general is like predicting the weather. You have indicators that help you make an educated decision, but they're not always accurate. So with all that in mind, let's jump right into the chart. And one last thing before I actually jump into this. So isn't it interesting that literally the entire global financial system waits for the great and powerful Oz to come out and tell you what's going to happen to your stocks, to your crypto, to your investments? Like, this all-powerful centralized figure, Jerome Powell in this case, is controlling or giving his proclamation to what is going to happen with your money, your investments, and so on and so forth. And he basically said that, yeah, we're flexible and we can change it anytime. So that doesn't provide a lot of confidence. This is why we need decentralized power and decentralized systems, but I digress. With that said, let's take a look. I'm looking at Bitcoin right now on your screen right here in an hourly chart. And the reason I'm looking at an hourly chart is obviously because the Fed announcement just happened a few minutes ago and it ended, right? So people are still digesting what was said, and we haven't had enough real time for the market to react, so I'm going to give you my plan. But as you can see, we capitulated down here, and there was about a 14% bounce. There's overhead resistance here between 38 and 39K, or what I'll just overall call 40K. Now, if I believe that we're going to see a bullish reversal, I'm going to wait for confirmation that we have clear momentum above this trend line here on a little ascending wedge breakout above 39 to 40K before I start scaling in heavy on something that is going to be long. Now, in the short term, between now and March, when the next Fed rate hike may or may not happen, who knows, there are some things that you can do. I'm going to show you some of the fills that I got and sort of like what my overall plan is. So in terms of Bitcoin, if people start to react in the next couple of hours and it breaks this little trend line here, let's say at around 36,500, then we potentially could be doing my self-fulfilling prophecy of 30K Bitcoin. Hopefully, and if that were to happen, that it would be a sharp sell-off so you get some nice bounces, as opposed to a slow grind over the next several months until March or whenever the Fed does whatever they're going to do. So ideally, my overall thoughts on this are, right now, I am going to start scaling in a little bit. I'm still mainly in cash. Roughly, I'm going to be about 40% invested. I'm going to start scaling in a little bit now. I'm still mainly 60% in cash because I don't know how this is going to shake out. And again, I already have my long-term bucket where I've already bought the lows, and those are 1 to 5 year plans, so I'm not worried about those. In terms of my immediate trading bucket and what I'm doing sort of in the shorter term, this is kind of what I'm looking at. But first I want to show you how I got really close to some of the fills that I talked about in my previous video, which I'll link at the end of this video if you want to get real price sort of analysis on what I was looking at in the last couple of days. So first off, we have Solana here. In my previous video, I indicated that I set some fill orders around $80 for Solana. I didn't quite get it. In most exchanges, it got as low as 83 to 82. So I actually ended up missing that one. This is why you should be flexible with your ranges and you don't go for an exact target. I actually put $80 and $79 as my first fill, and I didn't unfortunately get it. Obviously with Solana, there's some other technical issues. The blockchain has been interrupted and shut down multiple times. So I'm actually going to do a video on that later, because that's actually quite concerning, that if a blockchain can be shut down, that's a bigger problem than most people realize. So I just wanted to make that part clear, but I was looking at this strictly for a bounce play, not a fundamental play. Moving on Phantom. So again, Phantom held this support here of at about $1.83. I was hoping that it would go down in that 160 to 170 range. Again, just barely missed the fill on that, and it's already bounced up 28, almost 29%. This is mid-range, so I don't have an edge. Again, like I said in the previous video, I do like the fundamentals of this coin, and I want to see what happens, but at this exact moment, I'm still going to keep my fill orders low between the $1.60 and $1.70 range, so in case something spikes down, I will catch it. If not, I'm going to wait for this to play out and do an all-time high breakout of $3.33 with strength before I make a move on Phantom. But again, I'm watching this one closely. One more miss that I had, Near. Now, Near did have a great sell-off. So in this particular case, Near dropped all the way basically 53.5%. And then from its bounce point, it's currently up 17.75%. A lot of volatility going on. In this particular coin's case, I still have fills in case we do have a full capitulation. Like, for example, if we hit the $7 to $6.50 range, which is major support here, this is definitely something that I am going to buy at a cheaper price. This one in the short term is uncertain for me, again, with what just happened with the Fed, sort of kicking the can down the road, if you will, until March. So nothing's officially happened now, but again, this is something that I'm not quite ready. I don't have an edge in a short-term way to buy this. So I'm going to be holding off on Near in the short term. I want to see, before I take any of this action, I want to see how the market digests this over the next 24 to 48 hours. So I'm going to be watching the charts pretty closely to kind of see where I have the biggest edge for bounce plays and for some other things. Again, this is still really discounted off the all-time high. So if this is something that you do like and you want to consider start scaling in, I'm personally going to wait for Bitcoin to have a clear path before I start scaling in, but I am going to start scaling in today on a couple of different things. Sandbox was another one that didn't quite get down to my $2 level here. It's sort of holding, but it had some pretty big wicks. In fact, it actually jumped over 20% off of the bounce, off of this sort of wick, if you will. So I am actually going to start scaling in on Sandbox. Again, I already have some of this. I'm going to slowly start scaling in, but I'm not going to blow my load on this or my full position size on this because I'm still waiting. It's hard to make decisions directly after a Fed announcement like that because we may think that it's either dovish or hawkish or whatever, but the psychology of the mainstream person or hedge funds or stock market or whatever is going to take a day or two to fully digest what happens for us to see a clear direction, whether it's going down or whether it's going up. So again, I'm going to start slowly scaling in on Sandbox because fundamentally I like it. Again, Remark, one of my other favorite ones. This one had a huge 44% bounce off of the bottom. I didn't get a fill on this one either. I had order stacked at $10 to $8. It only hit like $11.25, as you can see on KuCoin, which is the main exchange that it's on right now. So I'm not perfect at nailing all the bottoms or all the targets based off of support and resistance. They're usually very good indicators, but it doesn't always happen. So I just wanted to point out that I don't always get my fills and I don't always hit my target. But I am going to show you a few things that I did get fills on that I'm really excited about right now. First, this is Terra Luna. I talked about this on a previous video. This one I did have an order stacked. I had a very low order stacked at 50. I was hoping for $40 to $30 as far as like where my main fills still are or stacked on the order books. I did get a fill at $55. And so I am up on a bounce play. I'm not selling it. I'm actually going to hold it for a little bit. This one is up roughly 15%. There's a huge reversal candle here. I have more cash ready to go essentially if this goes down to my main dream scenario target of $30, $25. That would be ideal, but I'm not necessarily counting on it in the short term. Next up is Alluvium. Alluvium, I did get a fill on. So this one I had orders stacked at 500. It barely wicked down, so I did get some fills. I was shooting between mainly 400 and 500, and luckily I got a little bit of a fill on Alluvium. And so far, it's at about a 26% bounce. This is one fundamentally I'm going to hold for a long term, so luckily I'm still up on that, which is really nice as well. Also, Mana. It wicked down pretty hard. I got a nice fill of it here at about $1.80. I had much lower orders that are still stacked, but I did get some fills on Mana, and this is something that is bullish in my opinion long term. But in the short term, who really knows what's going to happen with these? So I got those two wins, and then I had one other win that me and a couple of my we'll call them other renegades, got a very massive bounce play. Now, before I show you the chart on this particular coin, I put some really degenerate dip buy orders on, and I didn't get the full bounce. One of my friends got like a huge chunk of the bounce. I only caught maybe a majority of it, so we'll take a loop at that, and that is Loop Ring. So Loop Ring had the sharpest sell-off and the biggest bounce. It bounced over 70%, and one of my friends is still up 67%. So he basically caught the entire move, like nailed the bottom, nailed the top kind of thing. And he started scaling out because 70% is a lot. I only got about 50% of this move. So this is something that I just did as a Hail Mary. This wasn't really necessarily on my radar, but someone had pointed out that that was one of the sharpest sell-offs. So I did take profit on this one. Purely bounce play, not fundamental short-term trading. So just wanted to kind of give you an idea. I wanted to point out and be honest and kind of upfront that, hey, I had a lot of misses. I only have very few wins, as I've just gone through and showed you right now. Recapping this and giving my sort of final analysis, I am generally looking to start scaling in over the next couple of days, so long as we maintain sort of positive momentum, higher highs and higher lows, above 38 to 39, of course, reaching to 40K. In the next 24 to 48 hours, the market may take a U-turn, still digesting what the Fed just said. And for me, again, I'm really careful with what I do with my trading bucket. I prefer to do swing trades because they're over longer time horizons and you get a lot of flexibility and you get to catch better moves at better optimal points. But with the current environment, everyone basically looking to the great and powerful Oz to decide what they're going to do with their trading accounts, and the panic and the fear and the uncertainty and the doubt and the inflation and blah, 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 blah. All I'm going to do right now is literally keep my dip orders where I originally talked about in the last video, which will be linked here or here or here. Anyways, that's kind of my plan. I have my dip orders that are stacked. I'm going to be looking for sort of a reversal. If we can get above 38 to 39 leading into 40K with momentum, I would need a large green one-day candle in order for me to feel confident in that. Maybe even a retrace to retest it and go from there. But no official actions yet. My mentality is we're sort of in the quote-unquote clear for the most part for the next 2 months until March, until the next Fed rate hike happens, which if they do raise it at 0.5%, there's going to be even more carnage. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Like, we may even drop below 30K Bitcoin if there's a massive jump. Like, instead of going up 25 basis points, if they leapfrog that and go to like a full 0.5%, anything can happen. That's all I'm going to say. So just keep your risk aligned with it. You know, keep your eye on the road. Don't fall asleep at the wheel, that kind of thing. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here, and I will see you guys in a future video. Crypto Renegade out.